Welcome back, everyone, to the Elite Series League of Legends Division 2. I hope you're all right, because I am, and I'm really looking forward to this next game between FULLCLEAR and DYNASTY, casted by myself, Daniel, and of course my wonderful co-caster, Fresh Tana.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be with you here. And of course, it's cool to see DYNASTY again, because I quite like DYNASTY as an org, and I mean it's such a like organization, such a traditional organization, you could say, in Benelux. So definitely something you might have heard of. And I like to say the sentence that DYNASTY maybe is building up a dynasty here. I will say it in every single cast, in every single game, and so that's just my one-liner. Anyway, and they play against FULLCLEAR Esports, and if you don't know who FULLCLEAR Esports is, that's a good question, because they have kind of rebranded. Because
we don't either.
Yeah, you know, they came from the amateur circuit, so the third div in Benelux, basically. And then they had like a playoffs run where they lost nothing. They just played the first best of 3 with 2-0, and then the deciding game, the qualification game, played a 3-0, and all of that under the name of Black Wolves. And for this Division 2, they now rebranded as FULLCLEAR Esports. So kind of a flawless run into the second div, and now we see how strong they are against this DYNASTY team, where we have some recurring faces, some new faces. Tell us about this lineup.
Yeah, just one more thing about FULLCLEAR Esports. If I'm not mistaken, they have had like the shortest one into ERL Div 2 that you can have, because they, out of the 3 amateur circuit tournaments, I think they only played one of them. Oh. And they only played the last one. They won it, I think, or had some... No, they made it to semifinals, which gave them enough championship points to participate in the playoffs. And then they went through playoffs right into Div 2. So, yeah. But yeah, about the rosters, okay. Let's start by DYNASTY, because we know more players on DYNASTY. Of course, we have a comeback of some old faces. We got Frankie and DARKUNIQ, who are sticking with DYNASTY, which I think is a very wonderful thing. Frankie has been a very solid player throughout the spring split, in my opinion. He wasn't the flashy kind of carry mid laner like maybe Bikan was in certain games, but he always had a solid performance. It was never to blame on Frankie that DYNASTY lost a game.
Yeah, I think Frankie is kind of like the solid foundation. I remember his Orianna just being rock solid, just being like this guy who never loses, never wins, and just it's a solid midliner, and that's something you really want in your team. And especially like DARKUNIQ, I remember some Varus games, some Seri games. He was always the focus point, because in last DYNASTY's lineup there was SquarePants on the top lane, and he was kind of like this weak side top laner who was maybe even one of the weaker top laner in the whole league. So just playing around with Scallon, playing around bot lane, playing around DARKUNIQ and Snilla was their way to go to play this second div and the spring split. And now, of course, they have a new top laner, a new jungler, and a new support.
Just one more word about DARKUNIQ before we move to the other players. I think what Frankie isn't, DARKUNIQ is. So DARKUNIQ really brings the carry potential to DYNASTY, and I think both these players already fit pretty well together, because you got this like baseline solid mid laner together with a very carry heavy AD carry. And if DYNASTY managed well to build a new team around these two players, I think, and these two characters, I think they might have a very strong lineup here. And you might be able to tell us a little bit more about their jungler, because of course Umelu is a German jungler, and our friend Freshtana is from Germany, and it is once again a jungler that played for Freshtana.
Yeah, like I have definitely a long history with Fumulu in the Prime League in my own team. So he played 2 splits actually for me, and then here and there as a substitute, maybe in a couple of stream games or something. So Fumulu is an amazing jungler, and especially even played like in the third div of the Prime League. Just had a couple of good playoffs runs there. So he's a good solid jungler, and in my opinion, I like Galen, I love Galen, but Humulu could even be like the better one of them, so it's even an upgrade in my opinion. And yeah, so definitely excited to see and cast him again. I mean, that's a special part just to see my good homie there and to cast him. Anyway, we are in the Champ Select and Meteor's open, so I would even think about a Meteor first pick here. Yumi would be open as well, but we might see something totally different.
No, it's going to be the Meteor first pick, just as you predicted. I just want to get one more word out about rosters here, and that is on FULLCLEAR Esports. I don't know a lot about their roster. I think it stayed a lot the same than what they played during the amateur split, and I know that their support Sky Onage is kind of like an old rabbit in the Benelux scene, but apart from that, I don't have a lot of intel on them. So I'm really surprised to or not surprised, but I'm looking forward to see how they are going to play. And Dynasty seems like copying the Wiftslof spot lane here.
Yeah, I mean it's a good bot lane duo, and of course, especially against Emilio, Nautilus is really strong. You could even play Nautilus Varus, for example, but that's something some people don't play. Dark Unique Q would play the Varus, so but they just decided for the little bit more hyper carry type of champion. We have like the Kog'Maw with Minio, so a really strong duo on the side of FULLCLEAR Esports. And Mundo, who could be jungle or top lane. Let's see on which sides he will end up. Humulu just plays the Wukong like it's Dynasty favorite jungle champion, I would say.
It isn't locked in yet. It isn't locked in. Don't cast a curse it.
Okay, I don't cast a curse. Yeah, I think it's locked in. I think they are banning right now. I don't know. I can't see it.
Oh yeah, they are banning. Yeah. Okay. The Wukong is locked in. Sorry.
I would never cast a curse. Anyway, like one funny thing about FULLCLEAR Esports is that they have like 2 big OTPs. Like they have like this Kled OTP. Just look at his OPGG. He has no other ranked games except on Kled. So you know nothing about this guy, then just ban Kled and see what he picks. And then of course Galop. You could say it's a hacker.
Galop is a Mundo main.
No, it's a Hackeram OTP, and the Hackeram got banned. So Galop because your horse.
Yeah.
Galop, you know?
No, but there is something I remember. Okay. I think Hackeram was banned during one of the like when they played in the amateur circuit. I think Hackeram was banned as well, and he picked Mundo, but he played Mundo like a Hackeram.
Okay.
Like he went. I think that they had one play. They won it. He got 1 or 2 kills out of that, and then he just went like over everybody. He galloped over everybody.
Yeah, Mundo is one of those champions. You could say he's a so-called stat check. So either you have the stats to fight him, or you don't. And if you don't, you can't kill him. He will run over you. If you have the stats to fight him, he is kind of useless. So he is like the definition of stat check. If you are strong enough, he is useless. If you are not strong enough, he will overtake you. There was one big famous Mundo OTP in Challenger called Striker. It's a German jungler as well. And like he was maybe the greatest Mundo of all times. And like if he got the lead, it was over basically. So I know a lot about Mundo jungle at least. But at the moment we have some bans coming out. The one for Asagi and the Shen, and I really like the Shen in combination with this Medio and Kog'Maw, because you have just this hyper carry with Shen, you have a big front line with Mundo and Shen, so just play around Kog'Maw and hopefully he can carry, and especially it makes sense to play around him because basically the ADC of FULLCLEAR esports right now, Grandmaster as ADC. He's just really, really good, and just playing around him makes sense. With Lissandra, you have even more like even defensive abilities. Like you can just Wukong gets in, Lissandra ults him, more free time for Kog'Maw. So I really like the draft of FULLCLEAR esports. It's easy, it's simple. If Kog'Maw gets ahead and doesn't get killed, it's over. But Dynasty's draft is a little bit more three-dimensional, you could say.
Yeah, and it really reminds me of the Rift's Lost draft with that Annie mid lane on top of the Jinx and the Nautilus, and then of course you got a Wukong, which fills a similar role to Sejuani at least. So I think the only real difference we got that is that on the top lane, but I guess teamfight comps are definitely in, because also FULLCLEAR esports definitely comes in with a very strong team fight here with that Shan, the Mundo, and then of course Lissandra has a lot of root, has a lot of CC. So yeah, who do you think won this draft?
It's sad to say, and maybe it's I think the draft of Dynasty is a little bit better. It's just more rounded, but I see a world where FULLCLEAR esports win it, just because you can't get to this Kog'Maw. I mean, Ornn ultimate just gets Milio shielded and stuff. If Wukong gets in, you just peel him away with Lissandra. And I mean, the only chance to win is if you kill Kog'Maw and then just Shen ults him and stuff. So, yeah. And I mean, this full engaged team comp has one like big goal. It's kill Kog'Maw, and if they can't do that, they will lose. So I think all about this game is about early game. Can you snowball out of the early game? Then Kog'Maw is useless. Can you maybe just because if you are fat, you can't peel them away. Yeah. But if it's an even game, or even maybe a little bit more favored for FULLCLEAR, then I see a world where they win. I think Dynasty is like the second big name in the league right now, and should be like the second big favorite with Rift's Loss. So I believe that Dynasty can just win those games and just move on. But it's not that easy. I kind of like the draft of FULLCLEAR. It's something different.
And with that, everyone, let's start into this game between FULLCLEAR esports and Dynasty. A battle of a newcomer against a giant. And I'm really looking forward to see how it all plays out. I have to agree with a lot of your analysis. I'm really looking forward to see this Mundo play out, because if Gallop is able to perform very good on this Mundo this game, I think that's going to be another must ban against him, because he's already also known for playing that. And then you have got on the side of FULLCLEAR, you've got one player which is pulling two bans out of the enemies, and that's just an absolute disaster for every coach and every champ select you want to manage.
Yeah, and I think the jungle role is definitely the point to watch, because we will see a lot of important factors, because Mundo needs to be the front line, while Humulu needs to get ahead as a Wukong. There's not really much from playing behind, so he needs to get something in the early game.
Yeah,
and just seeing both junglers, Mundo will just try to farm, and he's not really a gank heavy champion. I mean, he can run down someone with Ghost and stuff, but he will probably just try to get to level 6 as fast as possible. Humulu as well. But for Humulu, he can definitely gank a little bit better because of those setups. We have those hooks, we have a hook like that, but just look at Milio and Kog'Maw. I mean, that's just disgusting.
Yeah, I also think that a lot of importance lies on Humulu and Frankie here. That's really the two players you want to get ahead, because you already said Nomad, the Kog'Maw, is going to be the target that Dynasty needs to manage, and they need to get that out in teamfights as fast as possible. And if they manage to get either Frankie or Humulu, or in best case both, ahead in this game, they have very strong tools to do this.
Yeah,
if they don't get this ahead, it's going to be a very difficult one. That being said, I think that another focus of this game is, however, going to be this bot lane, just like last game.
yeah, definitely. But you can't forget Shen on top lane. Like, Shen is always a wild card, in my opinion, because people just think, yeah, he will just ult and that's it. But especially against tanks, Shen is really, really strong. He has a lot of base damage, a lot of like max health damage on his Q. So if he plays a good laning phase, he can be a maddening champion on the top lane. And especially like Ornn is not a good matchup into Shen, because your prickle procs with your W, Shen can always deny them with his W. So you can't really trade against him. He can always taunt you if you try to ult. And yeah, it's just not a good matchup as a Ornn. So they just picked up Ornn as like the engaged tank, and that's it. And so Shen has definitely something in his sleeves to maybe win the lane.
Gallop going for the steal there, or trying to go for the steal at least on Humulus blue buff.
He got it. And now even gets the crap. He's already ahead in farm. Like 3 camps. 12 CS, 3 camps. I mean, that's insane.
May Mundo be the next target ban against Gallop, against the full clear jungler here? We have a hook coming in on the bot lane. Wood is going right under that. It's not looking good for Nomad. There has to use his flash. Ignite is still ticking, however, but the bot lane of Dynasty a bit too low to go behind there. Meanwhile, the cross map play from full clear on the top lane. Humlu, however, is one to counter to back up his top laner. No kill will be taken there either.
Yeah, but Flash is lost, and especially the wave is really, really bad now for Ornn. He wanted to push it in. That's the reason why Gallop even ganked this lane. That's because it was pushed in, and he needed to push it in just to gan after that reset. And that's the reason why Humulu at the moment tries to shadow his lane, just to maybe get the push and just to maybe get a little bit of this pressure on this Ornn away from him. So I really like at the moment both jungle pathings, but especially Gallop just has double of the farm of Humulu, and like I said, he's a stat check. So if we fall behind, you can't kill this Mundo in the 1v1, for example. If you fall behind, your team can't kill him. So this Mundo will just farm, get tankier, and if you don't have the stats, you will get chick.
Yeah. Frankie close to his level 6 right now. However, Miri already got it. And Nautilus is on the mid lane. Level 6 coming in right now. They were definitely looking for that level 6 Annie play there, but I think they dismissed the idea for now on the side of Dynasty.
Did you saw that? The prickle proc? You couldn't auto-attack him? It's so toxic. I mean, I play a fair bit of Ornn as well, and it's so unfair. You can't auto-attack him, so you can't heal your damage, and it's such a miserable matchup. But at least Ornn, you can see it. I mean, he's just 1 CS behind, but there's a huge minion wave, so he will definitely be ahead in farm, which kind of speaks a lot, because like this Shen player is a Kled OTP, so he isn't really playing a lot of Shen, at least maybe in scrims, or maybe in the officials as they got into Division 2. But besides that, you can see that he maybe even not misplaced this lane, but just gets a little bit less of the CS, just because he's not like too trained, at least, on this Shen, so he misses a couple of those.
Yeah, but then again, I think Shen, if you don't get your comfort picks, Shen is like a pretty safe route to go for the top lane, because getting something useful out of a Shen is much easier than, for example, picking up a Fiora and you don't know how to play it.
Yeah. Do you want to hear something funny, or maybe Frankie in trouble?
Frankie might be in trouble here as Gallop is coming in. Humulu is around the corner. They might be able to burst Lissandra here, but Frankie has to flash out as well. Tibbers is doing his action there against Gallop, but will it be enough? Humulu already retreated as well. No kills being taken here, but both mid laners quite low.
Do you want to hear something funny? Just look at the Drake they got and just look at the next spawning Drake. This first Drake got them more shielding power and more healing power. Healing for Mundo, shielding for just shielding this Kog'Maw, and no even a mountain Drake. So getting this Kog'Maw just tanky as something just to survive. I mean, they could have been like other Drake combinations, but those two Drakes right after another, maybe even both for FULLCLEAR Esports, are maybe the best two Drakes they could have gotten for the rest of the game.
And that's going to be the root on Nomad, but Craplord drops really, really low from that. Really showing off the power here of Milio, who can just turn around these fights so quickly.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just something as a trivia, Craplord, by the way, played in the amateur circuit as well. So he didn't got into Division 2 by promoting into Division 2, but just got picked up by Dynasty. So that's interesting trivia for all of you guys to hear, I guess. Maybe not.
Humulu coming into the bot lane now, will immediately pop the ultimate, but Chen is there with the ultimate as well. No, gets stopped on the top lane by Hazaki, and that is the showing for Dynasty to go for the re-engage there. However, don't have enough up anymore to really get a kill out of it.
Yeah, really important ultimate there by Shen, and that's what the team comp wants. Just protecting your Kog'Maw, protecting like your most important member. So really well played there, and like just look at the farm discrepancy in the jungle already, like 30 farm, and I mean Gallop doesn't really go for too many ganks. And every time he ganked, Humulu was there as well, like in the mid lane, where both of them couldn't farm because both of them just covered mid lane, or both of them covered top lane, for example. So every time Humulu goes for a gank, Gallop can go for a gank as well, so he doesn't lose time. But in the meantime, while Humulu doesn't farm, for example, Gallop got all the farm. So he's just really, really tanky right now. He has almost the most farm in the game. I mean, not quite, but he could get it maybe, and like that would be really funny for like the jungler to having the most farm of the game. I mean, that's quite something.
Yeah, and he still has the impact he needs to have in the current phase of the game. So far, really good performance from Gallop there. A little drive-by now on the mid lane. Lissandra is going in there. Nice book there as well from Mundo, and it's going to be first blood going to Gallop for FULLCLEAR here. We're showing that they are not in the Div 2 to joke around.
Yeah, and just think about that. In like that Kled and Hikarim will being banned. That's basically in every single amateur tournament games probably, and even in the playoffs. Like probably they never played a single Hikarim or a Kled game, so they know how to play such a team comp, because basically that's probably the team comp they played every single time or something, because you ban out those champions, so we every single time get the other ones. Oh, tower dive, good flash. And no Kog'Maw just gets good damage in.
Ooh, and now they try to go for the re-engage there with Humulu, and they are going to get the kill on Kog'Maw as well as on Milio. Will get the Nautilus true tower, but I think it doesn't really matter. Dark UniQ should be able to pick up at least one plating here as well. But yeah, on the other side of the map, Shan taking 3 platings as well.
Yeah, and like just punishing this roam there from Ornn, usually, and that's a funny thing, normally you punish the Shen for ulting bot lane and taking down those plates, but this time Ornn moved to the bot lane, he moved there, he didn't teleport there, just to being punished for that. and then having to teleport back to top lane. I mean, that's normally something you do to Shen and not to Ornn, but cool to see. And in the end, Kog'Maw even got a kill in return, so that was not the worst tower dive. I know they maybe probably get this second Drake, and that's a lot of scaling, that's a lot of armor and magic resistance for the Kog'Maw, for the Mundo and stuff, so that game is looking really, really good right now for the team of FULLCLEAR. And just think about it, this soul just makes them all more tanky. I mean, this is the perfect Drake combination for their draft. I mean, they are really, really lucky in my opinion.
I totally agree. I also think a funny thing is because we can right now see very well how dangerous this Mundo is on Galop. So this team with the top laner and the jungler combined, you have to do 3 target bans in your first phase of bans.
Yeah, and then you can just first pick Milio. And like normally in the current meta, there's like this handshake of Milio and Saryumi. So if you ban one of them, you ban the other. If no team bans Milio, for example, then you let Saryumi open just to pick it away. And if you have to do so many target bans, you can't ban the other guys. And if you can't ban the other guys, then they are open for pickup, like the Milio first pick, for example, who is perfect with something like Kog'Maw to have such a hyper carry comp. So being in OTP is not the worst thing in competitive. If you have enough of them, they can't ban them all. And the only problem is that you probably get smashed in skill matchups or can't play perfectly on your champion, but it doesn't take a lot to play tanks, so yeah, you don't care.
Yeah, I think you still need OTPs that are capable of playing at least one other champion or a few other champions, but so far FULLCLEAR is definitely not doing a bad job at that. Now we might have the absolute tank fight here on the top lane. It's going to be Mundo, Shen against Ornn. Mirror coming in now with some damage at least to take this Ornn down a little bit faster. And it's going to be the kill for Galop here once again. Going 2-0 into this game. Now the Dynasty bot lane very, very forward there. Of course they know, okay, FULLCLEAR has just been playing around top lane, so we should be comfortable here. Are pushing in now under the tower there. Frankie also rotated to the bot lane. Of course, there is a Shen on the other side, which is not to forget. And with that, FULLCLEAR is taking out the Nautilus, but Milio is going to fall right after, and so is Kog'Maw. So 2-for-1 trade there on the bot lane. And now Dynasty moving back to their respective lanes. Lissandra has been pushing in the mid lane in the meanwhile.
And she might get the second turret of the game. And like we see something really dangerous from FULLCLEAR. This Kog'Maw plays with a lot of confidence. I mean, that's totally fine and it's even needed, because as the hyper carry, you need to go forward, don't go for those auto attacks. You don't have to hesitate in most of the situations, because you are the most, you have the damage for your team. But it's the second time that Kog'Maw goes this step a little bit too far and just gets one-shotted. Like the second death, because he played the second time a little bit too confident. And I think that could be dangerous in those late game team fights, because if he just makes this one step too far without having a front line, he will just get smashed by Frankie and Tumulu, like we saw in the last 2 team fights versus him. And that could be something which could stop FULLCLEAR in their wings. In their tracks. Right? In their tracks, not in their wings anyway.
In their wings?
Yeah.
Chicken wings.
No, I mean wings like just normal, like flying.
Yeah, I understood. I wanted to turn your failure into a joke.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, actually, last time I ate chicken wings, it's a long time ago. Even last time I ate chicken nuggets, that's a long time ago. I should eat them. I mean, they're tasty.
Stop it, please. I'm already hungry.
Yeah,
as it
I know,
is.
I know.
We have a little bit of an engage here on the bot lane. Shen against Annie, but with the stun, Frankie will be safe and off his way. And Humelu now finds maybe some leeway there in the jungle, gets into the backline while Hazagi is coming in as well. So far, still no kill apart from Kokma. Humelu will fall in return. Gallop very, very low, but doesn't get killed quite there from Dark Unique's rockets. And Shen on retreat there as well.
Yeah, that was
1 for 1 for now.
Yeah. And, like, that's so bad because, like, where's the front line? You have 2 tanks and Lissandra who can peel away Humelu. I mean, Lissandra can just always press ultimate on him and he can't kill your Kokma anymore. But nobody peels for this Kokma and then you have no damage left. And I think that's something that FULLCLEAR needs to communicate there. I mean, Humelu basically, with Ornn together, kills.
Ooh, Gallop catches the recalls there, and Dark Unique will be left alone to his death by the rest of his teammates. And FULLCLEAR just picking up 2 more kills, saying to Dynasty, okay, you can have 1 Drake, but we are going to pick up 2 of your teammates for that. And with that, they are in a 3k gold lead now.
Yeah, could even take down this last tier 1 turret on the bot line. So it looks good for FULLCLEAR right now. And just coming into this league, and even from my expectations, I thought, yeah, FULLCLEAR, it's just like it will be an underdog. It will be the next Adverse, for example, or something, and it's basically they are no threat. But now watching this game, seeing the OPGG that they have 2 OTPs, but they have a really good draft for that, and just knowing how to utilize those OTPs, that makes them kinda scary to play against. Because what should you do? Should you ban out such a team comp and let them the OTPs, or did you just ban out the OTPs and let them this team comp every single time? I mean, and you can't really stop such a team comp, because if you ban out the Kokma, then they will just go for the Jinx, for example. Or if you ban out like this mid lane peeling Lissandra, just take an Orianna or something. Just take something else who can peel, or Talia or something. So it's really crazy that they can just almost always go for this team comp, because otherwise they just get their comfort picks, their OTPs, and then it's dangerous as well. So I really like FULLCLEAR at the moment. I didn't expect that.
I think also an aspect of the FULLCLEAR comp to not underestimate, especially in the first week of competition, is something like the Dynasty team comp is something we see all the time.
Yeah.
We see all the time in Ornn, we see all the time Wukongs. Annie is played a lot as well. And Jinx and Nautilus, these are very standard picks in competitive play. However, stuff like a Mundo Jungle, a Kokma, a Lissandra, all of these picks are pretty much something that, or maybe apart from the Milio, they are all picks that we don't see as much in competitive currently. And I think that's something that makes the team comp even stronger, because teams are not necessarily used to play against these champions.
Yeah, on the meantime, probably FULLCLEAR played a lot against such a team comp, right? So they know how to punish it, they know how to play it, and they just get 2 kills here.
Yeah, they pick up 2 more kills. They're under Dynasty's tower, trying to defend tier 2, which didn't turn out well for them. Going to lose the tower as well. And for that, the gold lead climbing up to 5k now.
And do you remember what I said about the team comp? I mean, Dynasty team comps maybe is better, but I said if they don't get ahead early and if they are even or even behind, they will lose this game. And that's exactly what we see. They have no damage for the Mundo. They can't really wombo combo down this Kokma probably. Especially if Mundo and Shen and Lissandra plays it right. I mean, in this one team fight where they lost the Kokma, but then still like traded 3 kills for 1, All they did wrong was Mundo wasn't with Kog'Maw, Lysandra wasn't with Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw was alone against Ornn and Wukong. And if they just peel him, it wouldn't happen. And I don't see a world the Dynasty actually kills him. And then they will just meatball them with Mundo and with Kog'Maw.
I agree. On ultimate now coming in as engaged, but everything is being dodged. Now beautiful two-man stun there from the Shan, going to result in 2 kills for FULLCLEAR, which are also now behind Dark UniQ. They're going to get that kill as well on the Lysandra, and now Craploud is the last one remaining on Dynasty, but he's going to fall as well. Double kill going to Mere, and that's probably going to be game here as FULLCLEAR is now pushing for the inhibitor, and with I think 20 more seconds on the timers. Yeah, FULLCLEAR taking their first win in their first game of this summer split against Dynasty, which should be on paper one of the favorites, apart from Rift's loss.
Yeah, crazy. Didn't expect anything like that. And, like, to be honest, I probably even think that we see that plenty of time from them, and that Dynasty kinda got caught off guard because they didn't expect something like that. And now the other teams, especially like the good teams, will prepare something against that, because they know that FULLCLEAR will draft something even like that. They will just make the same bands and just prepare something against such a hyper scaling team comp, because I think that works now against Dynasty in the first week. This will not work in the last week of second div. So I think we will see a little swift in drafting against FULLCLEAR, or that was a really strong showing for them in the first week as a team coming from amateur circuit.
And of course, the first weeks are also very important already. So getting those early wins, even just by surprise, they might save you from having to play relegation later on, or they might make the difference when it comes to getting into playoffs. So that's a very important win for FULLCLEAR, and a tragic loss for Dynasty still as it stands, even though something like this, as you said, might not happen later on into the league anymore.
Yeah.
With that being said, everyone, we'll send you off to a short break before the last game of today between Once Upon a Team and it should be next, between Once Upon a Team and next, and I'm really excited to see what these teams can bring to the table tonight.